Have you ever wondered how we shifted from the metaphysical exploration of scholastic science to the concrete reality of modern physical science? Let's dive into this intriguing metamorphosis. Our journey starts in an era when metaphysics dealt with matters in terms of substance, accident, causality, essence, idea, matter and form, potentiality, and actuality. Picture a world where these elements formed the basis of understanding the universe and everything within it. But like a river that changes its course over time, so did the exploration of metaphysics. There was a radical shift, a reshaping of the fundamental terminology that led us to the doorstep of modern physical science. The focus shifted, and the lens through which we viewed the universe changed dramatically. We began to treat things in terms of forces, motions, laws, and changes of mass in space and time. Imagine the universe as a grand theatre, where the roles of the actors, substance, accident, causality, essence, idea, matter and form, potentiality and actuality were replaced by new players. Forces, motions, laws, and changes of mass in space and time. The shift was not just about replacing old terms with new ones. It was a profound change in perspective, a different way of understanding the world around us. We moved from seeking the logical connections of things to exploring how they interacted in space and time. The eternal passage of potentiality into actuality was replaced by the onward march of time. Instead of focusing on the spatial connections of things, we began to delve into their temporal relations. Space and time, once considered accidental, became essential characteristics of our understanding. This change, however, was not without its challenges. The new ideas and doctrines subtly insinuated certain presuppositions about man and his knowledge. These presuppositions were so intricately woven into the new concepts that they often negated attempts to reanalyze man's true relation to his surrounding world. So, the shift from scholastic science to modern physical science was not just a shift in terms, but a fundamental change in perspective. But what about space and time? Were they not essential elements of our understanding of the world? Well, not quite. In the realm of scholastic science, space and time were largely regarded as unimportant. The focus was not on the spatial connections of things, but rather their logical connections. The emphasis was not on the onward march of time, but on the eternal passage of potentiality into actuality. Space and time were seen as accidental relations, not essential characteristics of entities. Imagine, if you will, a world where the where and when of things matter less than the why and how. This is the world of scholastic science. A world where the physical location of an object in space or its position in time is secondary to its inherent properties and the logical connections it shares with other entities. This perspective, however, underwent a radical shift with the advent of modern philosophy. The modern philosophical mind, accustomed to thinking in terms of space and time, elevated these once accidental relations to a place of prominence. No longer were they mere footnotes in the grand narrative of existence. They became the main characters, the crux around which the big puzzles of philosophy revolved. Space and time became the canvas upon which the drama of existence unfolded. They became the stage upon which the dance of forces, motions, and laws took place. They became the framework within which changes of mass in space and time were understood. They became the lens through which the universe was observed, studied, and comprehended. The shift was radical. to say the least. It was a complete flipping of the script, a rewriting of the rules, a revolution in our understanding of the world, and it brought with it a host of new questions, new puzzles, and new challenges for philosophers to grapple with. Thus, space and time, once considered accidental, have now become the crux of modern philosophical puzzles. Could it be that this shift in ideas led to some uncritical acceptance of certain important presuppositions? Let's delve into that possibility, as the terminology changed, moving from substance, accident, and causality to forces, motions, and laws. We also saw a shift in how we approached our understanding of the world. In the midst of this transformation, it's plausible that certain presuppositions slipped under the radar, adopted without the rigorous scrutiny they perhaps deserved. These presuppositions, subtle yet influential, may have come in the guise of meanings carried by these new terms, or as doctrines about man and his knowledge, subtly insinuated with them. In essence, they could have been influential drivers shaping our understanding and interpretation of these new concepts. Take the concept of space and time, for instance. Once considered accidental, not essential characteristics, they've now been thrust into the limelight, becoming central to our understanding of the universe. This shift, however, wasn't just a simple replacement of old ideas with new ones. Instead, it was a transformation, a redefinition of how we perceive the world. By accepting these new terms and doctrines, we've implicitly accepted a new perspective, a perspective that, while revolutionary, may have been accepted somewhat uncritically. This acceptance could have subtly shaped our understanding of man's true relation to his environing world, influencing our interpretation of the nature of existence itself. In adopting this new lens, we've embarked on a journey exploring the world not just as it is, but as we perceive it to be. This journey, however, isn't just about changing the words we use, it's about changing the way we think. This is the crux of the matter. The shift in metaphysical exploration isn't just about the change in terminology, it's about the change in the way we perceive the world, how we understand our place in it, and how we interpret the nature of existence itself. Hence, the shift in metaphysical exploration is not only about the change in terminology, but also about the change in the way we perceive the world. So, how did space and time transform in this new perspective? Well, in the days of Galileo and Newton, these concepts took on a whole new character. Gone were the days when space and time were regarded as mere forms or boundaries. They were no longer seen as the geometrical limits of objects or motions. Instead, they became infinite mathematical entities filled with objects but not shaped by them. Imagine that. The very fabric of our existence, the space we occupy and the time we live in, reimagined as infinite entities. This shift was more than just a change in terminology, it was a fundamental change in perspective. It's like looking at a painting and suddenly realizing it's a window. And so, we see that the metaphysical shift has drastically changed the way we understand space and time, and by extension, our entire perception of the world.